board?
Yes, because it's just like any other, it's every 3 years.
That, and they're not gonna be able to make reach.
I don't know. There's others that come available.
Yeah.
Through the year, and we're hoping to get them on one of those.
What's the price difference from what they quoted and what's on buy board for Durango?
Right now, Durango's running about 43,000, where everything else is running.
Yeah. What was Wisniewski? Weren't they about that?
That was, Durango was 43,000. Lit and change.
Yeah.
We bid vehicles, we used to, when I was at the state, local folks never,
Yeah.
they never either interested or they just. they
It'll
couldn't
be
hit
the
the button.
problem. They'll talk like they're interested and all of a sudden.
Then they vanish, yeah.
and you don't.
Yeah.
And we find that a whole lot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And they're not making no money.
Right.
Yeah.
What thought they had buy board, they didn't, they were just a CMBL vendor.
It's back on your.
So,
Hit back
They're,
on.
they're going through a learning curve.
They'll learn. No.
Yeah.
Use it.
Nope, it's coming up with me. Pulling up my computer.
Instead of.
You don't have to plug nothing in over here?
Hey. So we're trying to switch the screen over from me to Patricia. And I hit that number
Okay.
1 and it went to Carrie's. It's on the screen. How do I do that? Patricia?
Didn't she have to plug something into her computer?
Oh,
Oh,
She has her computer and she wants to plug into the screens.
Yeah, you got plug, you at least got to plug the monitor in.
Yeah. the-
Hold on, let me just put you on the phone.
Let me get you the IT director,
Let me get
assistant,
you the-
Mr. Commissioner White.
Oh, Christian, yeah. Hold on.
I was talking White.
It's Ronnie's day today.
It's Ronnie's.
Card that I plugged in.
Day by day.
There used to be USB or,
Hold on, I can help y'all. What do y'all need?
that's what we try to get you to do.
You know, I'm the IT guy today, right?
Yeah.
There's another cord over here.
Fix it, Addison, and I'll take credit for it.
We'll go wireless.
I thought there used to be one that ran across the floor.
Was.
What happened to it?
Okay, Jason, got a lot of people talking, so just speak up.
Do I need to come over?
Yeah, come on,
All right, I'll be there in a bit.
thanks.
Hurry, by the way.
Your IT said hurry.
I'm the IT guy today.
You gonna mess up?
We're fixing to have interviews for IT.
Do it
We'll fix to have interviews next week.
next week. That's some applicants.
Yeah, we start just from the books without it displayed on the
They
screen.
can work for them.
Bill coming down.
Yes, ma'am. Even- Very interesting, that ambulance.
Won't work, Patricia.
Yeah, it's not.
He's
hooked in.
coming.
Yeah.
Jason's coming. Hello,
I shouldn't have to have him. I'm the IT guy.
well, get over there.
You'll need him afterwards.
Whatever's.
Yeah, go ahead. We're good.
Okay. All right, maybe we'll start with, just what the book has in it, and then we'll do the big picture overview and take it from there. The book is generally the same format that you've received in the past. You have a tab for each fund. You have a tab for the summary pages of the supplemental requests. The judge has gone through all of the requests And the requests have been divided into two sections. One is what is presented in the book. You have a column for what's presented in the book. And then there is another column for to be discussed by court. Every supplemental request, the court will go through, you'll move things between the columns, add to the columns, delete from the columns, and then we'll come up with, the court's consensus. Okay.
Sorry.
Value Sabo.
Um,
IT.
Did we fire Ronnie already? IT guy, you didn't make it a whole.
Depends on days when we don't even know.
You have a page called Big Picture Overview. And this is just giving you an idea of what the a budget looks like as presented. General fund, new revenue at our current tax rate generates about 609,000. Included in the presented budget is 479,800, leaves about 129,000. So this is if the current tax rate is adopted, the new growth. EMS fund is presented at the tax rate that court has been discussing pretty much all year. And that it's at the no new revenue tax rate plus 1.5 cents. The Road and Bridge Fund presented at last year's budget plus 200,000 from the new tax rate. And that 200,000 is part of that 479,000. And then presented with the 600,000 one time that Road and Bridge has been receiving for many years. That's part of the presented. Countywide, based on the preliminary information from the appraisal district, and I highlighted very preliminary because the values definitely aren't all in, and then the hearings have not been held. But based on a report we got on the 24th, if at 90% collection rate, each 1 cent over the no new revenue rate generates about $580,000. The percentage budget maintains the salary and benefits at the current level. General fund and road and bridge maintain the same current tax rate. And then there's detailed reports in the budget showing every new request that was made and then what was included in the presented budget and what was not included in the presented. Notes, it includes no increases to the pay or pay classification system. And I did just a sample matrix of what it would cost to adjust the pay classification system. So each 1% and general fund road and bridge would be a total of 215,300, which means if you did a 2%, that cost would be 430,600.
What is the FTE?
Full-time employees.
Or dependent coverage went up this year, $454,000. In the past, court has done a combination of a flat raise, generally equal in the range of that. So for what dependent coverage went up this year, in general and road and bridge, it would cost $157,000 to cover that. And then of course you just do the multiplication. If you go over to the supplemental request page, the first page you can see their landscape, but the first 3 columns are one time. Second 3 columns are the ongoing. So in the blue, the first blue column that says one time, this is the amount and what the departments asked for. The one time included is what's in the budget as presented. And then one time for discussion, that's everything else. Then you go over to the second set of 3 columns. You've got the ongoing request. Middle column ongoing, that's what's included in the presented budget. these are all part of that $467,000. And then we've got the one-time court discussion, the things that would need to be added as part of the move, add, subtract. And then it just goes down the page, general fund, followed by the projects fund, followed by road and bridge, followed by EMS. So, want to start with EMS fund, or you want to start with general fund?
I want to make sure I understand something.
Okay.
I want to go back to the very first page. Since we went through that, the 609,171. Is the new revenue current. Expenditures included, that's gonna be what's in red.
Gonna be what's on blue in this, in the supplement.
That's what's on blue. And 129 is not included.
And that's, yeah.
That's what like leftover
The
money.
609 and.
That's, I just wanted clarification. Thank you.
That top number though, it seems like it's historically been right at 800,000.
Yeah.
So the dropping this year for what would you see of? Is that
It's basically the tax is flat. What we're not seeing is increases in our other revenue sources. Normally, in the past, we would have 100 to 200,000 increase in sales tax. As y'all been watching, the sales tax comes.
It's almost flat.
It's flat, and we'll be doing good unless things change to even make what we've got budgeted.
Last month was pretty good. It was.
That was the first month that was good, and I'm
Make up for the last
thinking
four.
that has something to do with the property you identified, maybe that wasn't on the tax roll. Unless things change and all the talk gets better, I'm not comfortable with raising the sales tax at this point.
And the collection rate is still not there either.
We're between 1.5% and 2% down in property tax collections.
So are you thinking rolling back some? instead of-
I didn't roll back. In talking with Stacy, she said that at the appraisal districts, one of the things that she said is that what they're seeing is more and more people taking the plan where you don't pay your taxes all at one time, where you
Quarterly.
make equal payments. So we don't have as good a pattern to follow because there's a change in how people are paying. So I don't know if that's just a trend that's gonna make itself up as it comes in. I'm not sure how that's gonna play out, and so I didn't lower it because I don't have a pattern that really supports lowering it yet.
Yeah.
Now, over the next month or so, as we're doing the budget and we get the June property taxes in, and normally June is kind of a high month because penalties kick in July. So I don't have enough history to lower it. Vehicle registration, kind of flat. The only place we saw increases was interest. And I'm not comfortable with budgeting interest for next year at the same level of what we're receiving this year because you don't know what the feds are going to do. So I've increased that amount of revenue, but not to the level we're doing now. So yes, our revenues, we don't have as much as we've had.
What's the bad news?
Yeah.
I was gonna ask about the top line. We came back.
You wanna, Bill, you have a question?
No, I was just making sure we were good with that there. So one thing we found, I guess the ESD one found was that, and it may be a part of our sales tax. I don't know how big of a piece it is. But used to be a bunch of locally owned garbage collection companies all out in that area. And one company came through and bought them all up. And their office was in Lufkin, so they were paying all of their sales tax to Lufkin for their entire area. I don't know how much is outside the ESD area they serve.
Yeah, they've been bought again.
Yeah, so there's,
There's Live Oak now.
Yeah, Live Oak.
They're out of,
yeah, Live Oak.
Yeah.
They're the ones out of Lufkin. Live
they're
Oak.
out of Lubbock.
Yeah, Live Oak's out
The
of,
other one's out of Livingston, I guess.
yeah. Piney Woods was out of Livingston. So the ESD is checking on it, but it might be worth us to check on it too and find out if they serve outside the ESD area because all that would have been going to Lufkin also. So I'll make it.
Yeah, communicate that with the judge. He's really the only one that can request that.
If it's Live Oak, they do because they come over to our house.
Oh, do they really?
I think that's who they are, Live Oak. They recently changed names.
Bought up from Pineywood.
Wasn't paying sales tax there.
Oh, really?
There's a county there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because,
Okay.
really every month you're seeing a pattern of it being less than it was this time last year. With the exception of the last check, it was up. So hopefully something like that identified would make a difference.
We, just so that we're in budget, we can talk about stuff, right? So at one point in time with the ESD, when I was president of that board, we hired a company that went in and looked at all of those. Do we have, or do we have somebody that does that for the county? And do we have the ability to hire a company to do that? I wouldn't recommend one to be hired. I was not pleased with them, but their goal is to go to businesses that are not paying their taxes or sales tax correctly, whether it's Lufkin or wherever their parent company is. Is that something that we would want to look at?
It is not something we have done or are doing now. Can we? I don't know. That'd be a Quentin question. And then, doing an RFP, we get purchasing involved. I mean, RFP, we would get purchasing involved, but that has not been done for Walker County that I'm aware of.
I think it's probably worth a discussion. I know ESD one did it a couple years ago. They didn't turn, I think they might have turned one up. In fact, they didn't renew it this year, but if we've never done it countywide, it seems like it'd be worth a visit.
I do know that, ESD, yeah. Several years ago, when that study was done, that some of that information said that they had found some, and Walker County did end up with some money out of that when they refiled, because of course they refiled for their sales tax.
Yeah.
And then the one that you've requested through the judge's office, from what I understanding, they are refiling, and I'm wondering if some of the money we got this last payment
Maybe some of that.
reflects that.
Lump sum.
I don't know if all of it is, because I watched the ESD one as well, and it was a very healthy payment. But the ESD collects 1.5 cents where the county collects 0.5 cent. So all of that is not that one company, because there was not enough, it would have, the jump in the ESD and the jump in the county wasn't, they were almost the same. You know, so it's something else in there too. Anyway, sorry.
Okay, so let's go to EMS fund. We'll start there. So when you're looking at the summary sheet, the first 3 columns are actuals from the last 3 years, and it shows the revenues coming in, the expenditures going out. The original budget column shows the budget that was actually adopted this year. And we're projecting in the budget to end up with about $1,800,000. Revised budget, of course, revised budget revenues only changed by, well, actually, most of this is vehicle insurance reimbursement. And then we've got our revised budget. Now, the revised budget, the major change here is, of course, we've spent some of the contingency money, or we budget transfer some of the contingency money. And then we had 526,000 budgeted in that special contingency. 280, we've got a balance of 288,000 left in that. Most of that money went to the salaries budget and to buy the 2 ambulances, the 2 used ambulances.
What page you on?
I'm on page EMS tab, page 1. So if we look in our estimated column, it shows our beginning fund balance of $4,065,000. Projecting the sales tax that was budgeted, sales tax. The ad valorem tax that was budgeted this year was $1,995,000. I'm saying we're going to collect what we budgeted, still a little iffy at this point. It looks like our ambulance fees are going to be about 3.2 million this year. Write-offs about 20,000 and then our other revenues. So we're projecting we're going to have total available of 5,404,000. And then if we look at what we're projecting to spend, we'll end the year with about $3.79 million. Go up to budget 24-25. We start with that 3.7 million. We have the same $1,995,000 in property taxes budgeted for next year. The 1.5 cents over the no new revenue rate would generate $870,000, projecting revenues in the same general range as what we expect to collect this year. Write-offs, we're projecting the same. And then interest, we're estimating this year we're going to earn about 150,000. We projected for next year 100,000. We'll think the interest will still be up, but we don't know if it'll be up as high as last year. And then we go down to the budget side, starting with that same 200,000 in contingency. The salaries at the 4,858, and this includes the 6 new people. 932,000 is the amount of operating we had budgeted last year. And then we've got requested grouping 1, requesting grouping 2, and the capital. So requesting grouping 1 is when the judge went through, those were the ones that that basically are maintaining what we've got now, the increase for Emergicon, the increase for the vehicle maintenance, the insurance for the vehicles. That's just really what we have to stay exactly where we are. Now, when you add in the request for operating, what was requested that EMS went through today, that's 146,000 in ongoing cost and 688,000 in capital cost. So if you go down to the bottom of the page, or you go back to this page, that's landscape, you've got the same 3 columns. You've got the one-time request. None of the one-time requests were in the presented other than to give you the total to show what would be if you funded all of them. And then the last 3 columns in blue, you've got the first blue column is what was requested. The second blue column is what was included in the presented budget. And then you've got the ongoing for discussion. So when you see the 145,000 up in that last column, this is the detail of that 145,000. So these would be, I think, where you would start. You would look at what is requested, look at what's in that ongoing blue column, and look in the ongoing discussion and see what you want to move in and move out. Now, before you do that, I want to show you one more thing. If you look in the column that says actual 22-23, you'll see a number of 1,241,000 that was transferred from general fund and 400,000 that was transferred from general fund. Now, when you look over here in your budgeted and your estimated column, there's between 370,000 or so that increased over and above this 1,241,000 and this the 1641 in the prior year. That's the 400,000 that we're talking about that was funded by general fund giving part of their tax rate to EMS. So this assumes that general fund's not going to make up that 400,000, that this money's going to come here. So that money is part of the discussion of what you want to do as far as the tax rate. If you made up that 370,000, you would need more than 1.5 cents. If you let it keep that money, then the 1.5 cents is enough. And if you look, if you funded everything, everything in operating, it would fund this 1.5 cents with this 370,000 left in there, will completely fund this budget with the exception of contingency. And then that would leave you a fund balance of $3 million, which can be used over the next years to fund the capital budget, your ambulances and the equipment and all of the things you need. So this leaves EMS in a very healthy place with basically EMS taxes funding EMS.
That's what
I see we're you put it flat for the ambulance fees. Are we expecting the ambulance fees to go up with what you guys are working on with Title 42 and TDC or UTMB stuff?
No, they should go down. UTMB's telling us that their calls are gonna go down.
UTMB calls are
Calls
going
them out.
How much?
He's saying way down. And they're talking, we're running 20%. No, 20% of our calls are TDC. He's saying that should be below 10. So they're saying we only got 300 calls so far this year when we should have 1,000.
But you were asking about the financial side of it.
My question was about the
Financial, not the number of calls, but.
We don't know that
we
yet.
got
Don't know that yet. They brought up the discussion of the call volume being way down.
Yeah.
But we had a meeting with them recently
Oh.
and,
I know we're very, very early on, but if our call volume is going way down and
So does your revenue. So does your
yeah,
revenue.
you're gonna lose a lot of revenue.
Yeah.
But that's just part of it.
$500 a call,
$4.97.
$4.97. A
My
call.
accountant's over there looking at me.
I mean, you drop it 1,000 calls.
And
ain't
12
much
cents.
on that
a
one.
minute.
So my question was it gonna go up? Sounds like this 31.
But what you end up is cleaning up and you may not be making so many calls, running overtime, running fuel.
True.
Should be a balance back out.
But if you look at this $3 million figure, we were at 2.929, 3 million. This year it looks we're going to be 3.2. The 3.1 assumes kind of the same level of activity,
Okay.
but you do have sufficient reserves if that doesn't materialize. We can lower that number. And then what that does is, it'll reduce the fund balance. We collect more, it'll increase back up.
What you should see is these $500 calls go down and these $2,000 calls go up. So it should be even back out.
Okay, I'm just asking.
No, it's a very good point because the revenues are, it's based on the average of what we're seeing for the last 4 years. Next year, there's a lot of discussion.
I don't know that I agree with that because you're still making the same amount of calls. You're saying that the $500 calls go down and the other ones go up. They're making the calls. But, I mean, you're losing revenue basically on the $500 calls.
Yeah, and by far, the bulk of the calls are not paid at 100%. They're paid at Medicare, Medicaid, insurance, and whatever. So an increase in rates you go up 25% your rates, it's not going to generate 25%
No.
more money.
Right.
They charged me $503 to carry me 3 miles. So tell me, You
You
say
hear-
you say you're not making money on that one.
Did they charge you at the mental facility?
Yeah.
I don't know what that was. It was $503 to ride less than 3 miles in an ambulance,
So
less than 3 miles.
let's start with our
So-
blue columns, which is the ongoing cost. So these first few numbers is, included in the budget. Insurance went up this year. So this is maintaining the health insurance basically at the same level of benefits as last year. So that's what
Yeah.
this first three numbers is working with the benefits. The 291,000 and the 267, that's your 6 people. The 7933 is a request to move the EMT to the paramedic position that he talked about. Right now, that's in the ongoing column. That's part of the 145,000 number.
Okay, so hold up right there, Mr. Bishop. I've got questions about all that stuff. There's lots of moving around in this whole budget with people. We just done a salary study that said where these people are supposed to be.
All right, let's clarify what this one is.
Okay.
There are requests for reclassifications in the budget. What she's not giving people raises that are in the same positions they are now in this 7933.
Mhm.
She's saying, I have people that were budgeted as EMTs because they were not paramedics.
Mhm.
Now they are paramedics, so they need to be moved up to the pay grade of the paramedic.
Okay,
She's not reclassifying.
okay, I got you. I'm with you.
Okay, see the
All right.
difference. Right, so that's what this is these people have reached the qualification level that qualifies them for that
And
position.
they're only going to that position's market value, basically.
Yeah,
Exactly,
that's what-
maybe below, but the budget would be at market.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, now the next one is, taking a part-time, clerical position and turning that, using the money from that position to a division chief clinical services.
So what does that mean?
It means that, she's written, EMS has written a new job description with new job duties. And she's wanting the county to fund this person with this new job description.
This is an
Okay.
existing person, right?
It's existing part-time.
Existing part-time, okay.
Now, she does not say that the same person will fill the position.
Yeah.
That's not presented in the information, but talking position only, the position the part-time person is in, she's requesting that position, not person,
Mhm.
that position and that job description is no longer in the budget. Now there's a new full-time position with a new job description performing new duties that she wants to hire in place of that.
That's if it's approved.
For another 46,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay,
Now that's the difference. That's not the total cost of
Yeah,
that position.
that's just the upgrade.
Right.
My take on all that is on adding any of these employees. I'm gonna be against adding anything until we figure out if we can do a COLA or not. I mean, that's my position,
Yeah, you know.
other than what we've already committed.
And
to
actually,
this
that's kind of what I was doing. We're kind of getting into this and we started off with a 0. I almost feel like I'd rather kind of reset the whole thing and just go back to that and say, what are we going to do for our people this year? I like the idea of the 2% plus the insurance, and I'd like to know what those numbers, actually it's on your
Yeah,
example.
it's on.
That's on the example. So, but that number plugged into all this other stuff.
It's gonna have a lot of effect on
It's gonna
where I
change
would be, you know?
Yeah.
Well, right now, where it would put you if you funded no new positions. You've got 129,000 to do it. assuming there's no operating cost, which most likely there may be. So you've got the 129 minus whatever operating costs you want to add in here. Let's say 20,000. So that gives you 110,000 for cost of living pay schedule adjustments. Now,
Wouldn't it?
our best guess, 580,000 is a 1 cent tax increase. Last year in the budget, we included interest earnings on the capital projects fund as part of our balancing of last year's budget. That's not there.
88.
But if we keep spending that
1 cent.
capital projects money, then we won't earn as much interest. So this morning, when we talked about road and bridge, we know we've already got $1 million less that we're gonna earn interest on. Hence my suggestion for treating that as a loan, only transferring it when we need it to maximize the earnings. So theoretically, you would have 100,000 to 160,000 that you could budget in general fund from those project earnings. And then the other option, which kind of defeats our purpose, an EMS fund, keeping that 370,000 over there, going up 1 cent on the tax rate and making that fund pretty much whole for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Taking that 370 back and moving it over in general fund and pushing out that 400,000.
Yeah,
So none of them pretty.
Oh, no. Well, one thing we have this year going in though, and I think it's something that when we start talking about our budget and the tax rate, stuff like that, we're making a significant increase in the quality of life in Walker County with our EMS expansion. I mean, that's, to me, that's a $1 million standalone thing that we're putting out there. And it's just, to me, it's almost by itself. You know, almost like we're going to do our budget, whatever it takes to make that happen. And then we're also doing this EMS thing out there. We're taking you can't really incrementalize it. You can't add one person and then next year add another. You add 6 at one time. So you take the kick in the gut. They did it when we staffed up for New Waverly. They just did it, and you tell your people, hey, it's $0.015, but look what you're getting. You know, we're not buying fluff and stuff. We're buying an ambulance and a crew and this and that. And then we look at the other stuff on top of that. So I think there's going to be people grumpy and everything if we don't do the no new revenue rate and stuff like that. But if you, like we talked about last year and when we went up quite a bit, you tell them what it's for and you just take the hit. I mean, it's not like you can't do some of this stuff. You know, what are you going to tell somebody who absolutely has to have something? Sorry, you don't get it. You're like, no, we have to get it and do what's right and face the consequences.
Mr. Patricia, where did funding the other 2 deputies fall into this too? I mean, we had.
That, when we talk about new revenue, those deputies are built in here and they are funded they're funded as part of the tax rate.
so you got them in there now.
Yeah, that's full sum.
Yeah, because we budgeted for them last year.
Yeah.
The tax rate didn't cover it.
Mm.
And frankly, that's where the 173 from the interest came in and covered that for last year. Those are now part of the tax rate. So you're covered there.
You need 588, 290 to get 2% and
That's what I said on the tax rate.
then cover the health insurance. When you add those 2 together, then
Do what?
588, 290
Yeah.
gives you the 2% and the
Yes.
health insurance. So $0.01.
Does that include EMS or is EMS that's separate from EMS?
EMS would cover theirs
They do
within
their
that
own.
tax
They do their
rate,
own.
but end up with a little bit less at the end of the year.
I added these two together.
Two right there together.
First, number one,
We haven't got off page one yet.
all the way to the beginning.
All the way to the beginning?
Yeah, number one. See where it says sample calculation matrix for pay classification?
Mhm.
So the second one is 2 cents or 2% pay raise at 430,600. And then the next line item is to cover the health insurance. You add those two together, it's 588,290.
Yeah, and the way this is presented, this 96,508 and the 28,336 for EMS, that would just mean that more of your contingencies not funded in. So we would move that over to Road and Bridge and fund more of the contingency.
You need from us, Patricia.
Decisions.
Oh, you want that today?
Well, now that,
No.
yeah, now
What
that
I'd
I
like
had,
to do is maybe go through and let y'all see what's there as, because there's no way you're gonna make changes today. You need to process.
Yeah, I need a little more time on that.
But let's
Well,
go
you got
to
appraisal district
EMS.
Going too.
I'm sorry,
Well, I mean, we gotta get some hard numbers from the appraisal district.
these are as of June 24th.
Wow. Yeah, okay.
They are.
but they haven't given us a tax rate calculation, stuff like that yet. We don't know what that is.
Okay.
As far as the no new revenue. But I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. I would like to look at, I don't need a whole lot more narrative yet because it's all pretty much here. But I do know now that we're looking at $0.015 more or less for EMS to get them up and running. I think we're looking at $0.01 for cost of living. And I can put that in my head and I can kind of go through here now and just kind of see.
Right.
Where I'm at.
The only thing I'd like to make sure everybody's clear of is what's added in and what's not. Okay, so go back to EMS. You go down to, we went past the person, we've got 55 for increase to,
Division chief.
oh, the vehicles, the increase to, it says vehicle medical, but what it is medical supplies that would go into the vehicles. Now, some of these, although not covered specifically in a lot of these may be one time to get everything up to snuff. And then as you maintain it, so it may be an option to put this in the contingency, and then as the requests are needed that she can't cover in the budget, she could come back and ask court for money out of contingents.
Well, yeah, because I can't see,
Yeah.
she's asking for 55,000 in medical supplies, but she didn't ask for any increase in fuel. I mean, I know. I mean, we had the sheriff's department asking for $40,000 increase in fuel. They're our two biggest departments.
We're adding crews.
But you could look at all of these ongoing and decide if you want to move them inside of her budget, or if you want to increase contingency for when she needs it to come back in court, and make the presentation. I'm just saying that's an option. Now let's go over to the one-time requested. Of course, they talked about the ultrasound, and none of these, they're included in that total, but they're not included in the tax rate. So the 7379, which is it's an annual contract on the SIM-Man, ambulance, the equipment for the ambulances. So the ambulance is really costing us $490,000 because the equipment is half as much as the ambulance. Okay. Then the Tough Book, radios and pagers upgrade that is needed. The Tahoe for the, can't remember which person, but the Tahoe And then that's more communications, and then the Laserfish at 63,000. The only thing I would add to this is that, if you remember, I think Dan asked last year to upgrade the Laserfish system for the county. There is $40,000 in the budget for the Laserfish. The Laserfish was not at end of life, but Laserfish is pressing really, really hard for the county to look at the online, the web version of it and whatever. So that project may need to be looked at as the county as a whole type project. So,
Well, I
or
remember,
it may be that you do EMS first and then come back and pick up the rest of the county.
we asked Dan, I think I specifically asked him, what is out there besides Laserfish? They just waltzed in and said, we need another 40 grand to make this thing. And I was like, what else is out there? To me, I remember Laserfish from the freaking 80s or 90s or whatever. So
Way changed.
yeah. So is it, what is out there? What, and I asked him, I think, what is everybody else using? Is everybody using Laserfish? Then we're on that team. If we're the only one using Laserfish, maybe it's time to get off that team. I never really heard back from him.
Yeah, and I know that a couple of departments in the county have switched to something other than Laserfish. So, I don't know if the department approach is the better approach, see what fits for the department, or if the county-wide is, like Amy and our department pretty much have the same needs.
Yeah.
Carrie's may be very different.
What do you use Laserfish in yours? What did you changed to the what?
To
Co-files.
GoFiles.
Profile stuff.
Yeah, we still go back into it for research stuff, but very, very rarely, but we don't add anything new.
But now, isn't that where your minutes and all that stuff is?
All that goes on to CoFile.
That's what I'm saying. To me, I asked him a year ago, and I know he's got plenty going on, but that's what I want us to go carefully and slow into. Starts off as 40, ends up as 70, and we're dealing with 30, 40, 50-year-old
Has
technology.
EMS looked anything different than Laserfish?
I have no idea.
Well, the presentation EMS gave talked a lot about the automation feature, the workflow feature, which is one of the advanced features of this, where you can put pages in, you can work it through workflow, get your multi-level approvals, you can branch off and do different things rather than walking pages from one department to another. So the workflow automation is a big deal in the online, but it may be y'all want to talk to Dan and have him come back with more information.
Or maybe we just visit with the users that actually use it.
Yeah.
Say, what do if you use this document storage and search, what do you use? And I'd be interested to know that, to start off with. I hate to dump too much more on Dan
No.
right now.
He's got lots of projects going
Yeah.
on.
So I'll just question this 26,000. Would this be, they sit right here and talk about encrypting. When we went to an encrypted channel or something, RT just come in and asked for 10,000.
Yeah.
So is this encryption right now, I'm looking at costs us $36,000 so far?
Can the sheriff not give EMS and constables the encryption code?
The radios are too heavy.
Not compatible to them.
All right, but
I don't know how much, I don't know how much EMS and SO talk back and forth as far as on the radio. There is other ways that they can talk to each other.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I know the fire is not worried about it, or constable's not worried about the encryption codes, but sounds like EMS is. I can see where, the constables need it for sure.
I guess my question is, I'm already seeing quite a bit of money. What else is lurking out there that we don't know about?
Yes.
Other constables, other DAs, I mean, I don't know.
Well, basically all it's doing is keeping them from listening to actual ongoing calls. I mean, that's what the encryption is to keep them from basically Facebook from beating them to the call. You know?
And I think some of that happened very recently, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Regularly.
yeah.
You know, and it's just, it's part of it. I mean, VPS has went to them. College, I mean, I don't know about the college, but the city and the sheriff's department have both been to them. It's just a necessity. Now, like I said, I don't know how much it's affecting EMS without visiting with them.
All right, so EMS, everybody comfortable with the page, what's on the page and how to read it?
I think so.
Somewhat.
Yeah.
Okay.
If not, we'll ask next time.
Well, even like the Laserfish, I mean, the presentation was it's helping in-house. It's helping them shuffle paperwork back from forth to each other. As far as hiring, I mean, that's what I got out of the presentation.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm willing to give $63,000 for you to just an in-house program.
Add a
Basically.
couple hundred people, be a little different.
Yeah. I mean, so it's something I'm definitely wanting to come back to.
Yeah, the workflow is one piece of it. The other piece is Laserfish takes the place of rooms full of files that used to be in paper boxes and file store. It's a file storage system is what Laserfish is, with bells and whistles on top of it. But I think it almost down to a policy. Do you let the departments decide what they need? Do we need an overall standard or whatever?
Well, I mean, I
Yeah,
don't disagree with Bill's deal. I mean, if we're gonna, it needs to be somewhat countywide, you know? that
Well,
way we don't have to-
maybe not necessarily. Maybe there are different needs, like Carrie's needs definitely are different than some of ours, because she's tying in with her computer system and all that. But, and EMS paying a portion of a bigger system that also serves somebody else's needs, or it may be the type of information they're storing in there. They don't want to be on a system with everybody else.
Very true.
Yeah, they got a lot of stuff that public doesn't need to see. HIPAA.
All right, let's go over to Road and Bridge Fund.
I love that one.
Yeah, that's the one
Okay.
we usually.
And as we talked about in the overview, we go to the budget column, we'll see revenue coming
For the
in,
front.
the same
Wonderful.
tax revenues as last year, 200,000 from the new road. Then the revenues adjusted up and down. Then you'll see the money split, using the road miles, as we've used in the past. Got some estimates from Andrew. He made a couple of changes today, so these numbers will go up and down a bit. But generally, this is what the budget would look like at the same tax rate, same 600,000, same 200,000 going in it. Okay. Now, there were a couple of things asked for, and we'll go over those in just one second. All right, general fund page 1 tab. So you can see the same 19,607 as we budgeted last year. For planning, I'm saying we're going to collect nothing else at 400. I hope I'm wrong. The wrong under budget.
Yeah,
Let me say that.
exactly, in a good way, huh?
Then the current taxes, then the number right under that, a total of 681,000 in new taxes, less the 200,000 that went to road and bridge. So that's 481,000. Then you can kind of look at the revenues, expecting delinquent taxes to go up a little bit. Delinquent taxes penalty, sales tax is the same thing, a little bit more money, and mixed beverage taxes. And you can just kind of see as you go down what the monies are doing. We budgeted 600,000 in property tax interest earnings this year. We're going to collect closer probably to $1 million. Next year budgeting at the 800,000 level. So going up a little bit there, but not comfortable with 1 million. And then as we go down here, if you get down almost to the bottom where it says appraisal district increase $119,000, that's part of what's included in the one-time revenues, mainly because they don't tell us what we're going to pay. So, and that budget did, increase significantly. In dispatch, on page 2, about 3/4 of the way down, there's a 36,696 increase in their budget. That number could be an adjustable number if the county went to what you were discussing earlier, the 2 plus the insurance. The board usually follows what the county does. So the board could go back and reduce their request. That would be up to the board. And then get down page 3, right above the totals.
Make a question
Yes.
real quick. So on public safety, looking at the sheriff's department and the 2023-2024 original budgets, 5,277,000. And then in the 2024-2025 budget, it dropped.
By the one-time expenditures. Because the 52 included the vehicles and all the one-time expenditures. For next year, they start back less one time and then you add one time back in that you appraise.
So that same thing with Constable 4.
Yes.
That's, okay.
Yes.
Gotcha. Now I understand it. Thank you.
But yeah, if there is a difference between the current year budget and what's proposed and it's less, it's going to be one time that was in last year's budget.
ARPA on that.
Okay.
You got ARPA. Everything.
Oh, I imagine that was crazy.
Patricia, I know it's just at the top on that top of page 2, that final budget, I guess it's on all of that, sorry, that journal.
Yeah, that's really kind of ugly, isn't it?
Yeah,
I just caught that.
I know you catch those too, so.
I'm just saying,
Yeah, I was looking at it, but I don't want to say nothing. I was gonna just kind of let you make it.
no, you were.
I saw it too.
Well, thank y'all for those that did.
That's the kind side of me coming out.
All right, let me draw your attention down on page 3, about 4 numbers up in the last column. The supplemental request, that 253. The 253 plus the money for the appraisal district plus the money for dispatch. That's the $400,000 number that you see on that summary page where I subtracted the 479. So 255 plus dispatch plus appraisal district is the 479 number. Okay, and then the 736 is the number that's in the presented budget. And when you get over here, you'll see that again. So if we spent that, we'd end up with about a 33% fund balance. Our goal is around 25. The minimum we keep is 16, but we generally keep in this range. Like last year, we ended up with 29% in our original budget. All right, now let's go to the supplemental request, the landscape page. Same thing, first 3 columns are one time. If it's in blue and that one time included, that means it's included. So the 500,000 contingency is in the budget. The elections cost is presidential election year and whatever, we're going to spend $40,000 in extra cost. Then you've got your list of contracts that the county funds. And all of these are in the ongoing tax rate. Then we had 2 new requests, one for the safe house, one for a time to read.
Question real quick. I thought the Boys and Girls Club shut down.
Oh, no, YMCA.
YMCA, okay.
Say, man, not the boys go.
I didn't think so. I couldn't. YMCA is not on the list, right?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And if you go to the second half of this page, this is the ongoing, so you see what's listed in the first column. Second column that's highlighted, that's what's already built in the budget. And you see here, you see the appraisal district. Dispatch. You see the insurance coverage, keeping the insurance coverage in there. That's the first three. You go to the second page and the IT department asked for these endpoint security and network firewalls. These are major security enhancements. The one-time cost of that endpoint software is $65,000. The maintenance agreement, if we paid for maintenance for 5 years at the time of purchase, we save $20,000 or $25,000. So that's all included in the one-time budget.
So that's where you come up with 100.
Yeah, that's the 65 one-time hardware cost plus 5 years maintenance agreement prepaid, paying all of that out of one time. All right, in the network firewalls, the cost of the equipment is $5,000, and then the annual cost is about $5,000. Going down to the next one time under county clerk, this is an agenda meeting software cost undetermined at this point that Carrie wanted as a placeholder in there. Keep you up to date. Maintenance, kind of already talked about maintenance. And the one time you've got the $50,000 truck, and then you've got the facilities, and they're included in the one time included. These basically would normally what we do, we budget this as a transfer to the projects fund and then budget them in the projects fund because they don't always get done in the same year we budget.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you slip over to the ongoing page, you'll see in our Microsoft products, 40,155 in ongoing, and then 9,782 for the Tyler Technologies, which is the court system. The 4155 basically is the Microsoft products, and that's countywide use on that. The 3151, there is a request for a reclassification in the county clerk. Larry's request for the custodial, that would be reduced down to the number he gave us today for what you would be considering. 3,500 was increase for training his new employees. Included in the budget is the 3,500, but it's a one-time cost because he's hired some new people. 5,000 for the external audit. We don't need, we got the bids in and our current budget will cover all that. Budget for autopsies, budget for insurance. Autopsies is recommended at half of what we think the cost will be because one of the other line items is going out for bid, which is the ambulance services, and think we can transfer some money there. So probably just a 20,000
Pickups, not
to that
ambulance,
budget.
pickups.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
Transportation.
Yeah.
Insurance, 60,000 for insurance and deductibles. We already know that it went up 50,000 this year just on our last policy. And then we know that our deductibles went up too. So that's the 60,000. County auditor increased the training budget. Most of this is for, not most of it, all of it, is basically dealing with all the changes and the software packages we use related to AI. And then we're going to more of the graphics, the presentations, the analytics side of it. It's training the people on that progression. Purchasing request for a reclassification. The one thing I will say about this one, last year, purchasing gave up an employee. And in that discussion, she indicated that she was going to, the two people she had left, she wanted to be certified purchasers. And so what this would do, they may both already be certified, but I know one of them is,
are.
and this would allow both of them to be paid as certified purchasers.
And that's where you built this.
That was the,
4 in.
yeah, the 3634 is there. If y'all don't want to fund it, you'd move it out. This, training, purchasing is asked for 3,500. And this is basically for the classes and the finishing up of the training on the certified purchasers. Cheryl, speak up.
She's gone.
Go.
Oh, she gone.
Laura passed her test to become a certified purchaser. So they're all three purchasers.
And then this last one, is for the, two vehicles, the maintenance on the two vehicles that were transferred to purchasing. So, Judge included in the budget as a one-time, that way, that gives the court the opportunity as these major repairs occur, then court would go back and review them, basically. But I don't know enough about that to talk intelligently.
When we took 2 old vehicles and, you know, I could have seen one, I don't know, but. And she didn't ask for no fuel or anything?
She asked for $6,500 ongoing.
That's in maintenance.
Nope, well, I guess she didn't. No fuel. So we gave her, yeah,
Single drive for.
we gave him $6,500 one time to see how it's gonna go on these vehicles.
And if if the intent is for other departments to use that car, the department would be responsible for the fuel. You know, I don't know. Those are questions.
For the department.
Because I don't know the
You
answer.
know, I'm not against what she's doing at this point, but I can get there very easily,
They may have some gas in their,
you know?
in their travel funds for their department side, so.
It wouldn't take a lot to get me there.
All right, vehicle registration, the ones that Diana talked to you about. 12th Judicial District, these are legal related fees that really pretty much required for their department. District Attorney, the victims assistance, that number would go down.
Say the 15,000.
15,000, wasn't it?
I think it's-
That sounds close.
that's what I wrote in.
That's what they said earlier.
Yeah, they're 20%.
Laptop, computers, quite a convincing speech on that.
Wasn't actually done well. I told him
You
about
know what the
how well
argument
it
is.
Hey, and you know, if I hadn't just thrown away my computer the other day, I'd probably been against it. But computers are aggravating, so I'm going.
Well, you know, when I first come on board, and Patricia, everybody knows, I mean, after 3 years, they just done away with it.
Yeah,
And I was against that since I've been
that
here.
one I got is probably 15 years old, but it would cause my blood pressure.
JP2, an error card, JP3, on the door replacement,
Larry went to look at those and get prices. He thinks he has them in his budget. Larry's gonna try to work it in his own budget.
and then, chairs, which the pictures show some pretty worn out chairs. JP4, the 300, then in the sheriff's department, he went through that budget. Constable, he didn't talk about, oh, this is precinct 1, a tough book and docking there. That may have been related to a vehicle he inherited, but, oh, no.
It's
I think
replacement of his.
that's-
That was at 10. We
He
called,
has his original computer that he was ever assigned, and it can't take the updates now just because of the age of it. So it's worthless and useless at this point.
It's original, it's about 20 years old.
Constable
Mine that I-
2,
in my office.
Constable 2 is asking for, the reserve deputy part-time money to pay that person.
We
Some
give him,
software cards and
we had 10 last year,
we gave him 10 last year or 20 last year?
10.
10.
Yeah, I think, I don't remember, but
And
I had
think
asked
he's
him, I was gonna get him to come
actually
present.
They might
implementing
use 3,600 by the end of the year.
4,000 this year.
He was late
Yeah, he
getting it
was late getting
started
started.
because of the car
Yeah,
issue
it's like
and all that
that.
mess, you know.
Getting that all set up.
But we
Jane
plan
gave
on,
his
I mean, we
presentation.
plan on putting that over there, right? If we plan on funding that, I mean,
Yeah.
things that are gimmies, I would rather put it in the ongoing column while we're sitting here.
Yeah.
I mean, that would,
Okay, I mean,
I think,
We didn't know, we wanna do 10, you wanna do 20?
I have any troubles being that money's so tight. I have no troubles with putting 10, because we have a contingency
Yeah.
if we need to, if he goes over, if it's super successful. I know,
Everybody okay with 10,000 there?
What did you say done this year already for, Ms. Patricia?
yeah, but he
He
just,
just
Yeah,
got
so-
started.
That's till the end of the year,
Yeah,
3,600.
Yeah.
okay.
10.
all right, and then overtime, he didn't talk much about that. Talked about his vehicles and mobiles, and then the fleet maintenance, he said no on that. Because with the new vehicles, he didn't think he would need that. Is that what y'all heard? Okay. Emergency operations, this is, of course, OEM, 180 for the tower rental, and then 8,000 for the app. The county jail, the people, the jail food, veterans, heard about that, planning and development, you heard Andrews. AgriLife, a lot of theirs, are salary related. They, in the past, they've been included in what everybody else got.
So
But-
how much is that for their salaries? Is that 1%, 5%?
Whatever we do,
That was a 5 ass.
That was a 5?
it's always been whatever we done.
Yeah. So that,
They always ask, but.
that's probably gonna fluctuate.
Yeah.
So for Adobe, this is a cost share with, A&M. And then the computer monitors is also a cost share. They've also asked for 50,000, to be placed in account the whole for a future building. Projects fund on the next page, page 6. The, JP3 and Road and Bridge generator, 80,000. The trash bash cleanup day, 30,000, and the generator for RB4 and JP4 were requested.
So-
And then Road and Bridge, you see that, and then EMS, we've already covered.
We're gonna, like Bill said, we're gonna go ahead and move it over, trash bash. Didn't hang us from the,
we spend that money, don't.
we earn and spend, we work our butts off that. So I'd like to see that just put over there on.
Yeah.
I ain't automatic on none of that right now. I gotta see more of the budget, so. Not saying I'm against it for it, but
I
Yes,
can
sir.
keep going, keep
Possible too.
talking.
I'm not, hey, I'm good for waiting on him too. I got no problem with it, you know.
What's that?
Starting moving stuff around when I hadn't seen enough of me to move anything around, really.
All right, y'all want me to keep talking
Just keep
or
on going.
call it a day?
I'm good, but you can, or you can call it a day.
I've really,
You cover what you want.
I've really covered, the things and, I mean, we can begin to go through it one by one, let y'all absorb the budget and do it next meeting. I'm available for which one?
Well, I mean, I'm good where we at until we come back.
Yeah.
Depends on the rest of them. That'd give me time to look at it and.
Do y'all,
I do have one question, Mr. Patricia. So a couple years ago, we put back money for, Larry brought it up today, the parking lot at JP2 and the senior center parking lot. That money is still there, right?
Yes, it is. In fact, there is a tab called,
project?
Projects,
yeah, let's see, but I'm thinking.
Ham Road parking lot, senior center, it's first page on
Oh,
project
yes,
funds.
okay, this is the budget as it exists right now. It's under tabs project, page 1. All All right, so what's currently budgeted, you can see what the budget is, revised budget. Basically, it was budgeted in future years. It's rolled forward through the years. But you can see we've got IT projects, 527,000. Spend beyond that, software project. Document management project, here's where the Laserfish is budgeted, is that 45,000. This NCIC project is money that was given to the jail for capital improvements when the last commissary contract was issued. Jury software, it's that money's all spent. Court system maintenance, we've still got money there. Project contingency, we've got 1,199,000 in that contingency. The special contingency, this is the 500,000 that was moved here last year, basically set aside for legal fees and major lawsuits and whatever is for, not lawsuits,
That's
but
when the district courts.
district courts related stuff. This 50,000 set aside for future building. This was the first 50,000 that was set aside for ag
stuff, yeah.
copier replacement. This is money that in the past was budgeted for maintenance, did not get spent. So this money is sitting here for copier replacements whenever we need it. This HVAC capital negative, the money just needs to be moved down from the county facilities projects to here. That's a reclass problem. And here's where you see the Tam Road project and the senior center parking lot project. So this money is still budgeted that, I think he said both of them could
Both.
go, or did he say just?
Just the Tam Road one.
Yeah, well, I visited with him a little bit about it, and Ronnie, about maybe combining them two and trying to do it at the senior center. That thing is getting horrible, has been horrible for years, but
Yeah.
anyhow.
I
We've
wouldn't,
talked
yeah.
about it for years and we just set aside the money for it and just hadn't done anything, and it's not getting any cheaper, so.
I wouldn't have an issue with moving all that into one and doing it out there at the senior center area.
But the money's been sitting there. We
Yeah.
need to do something with it this coming year sometime, so. It was a thought.
Now, this last one where it says Cisco, voice over IP project 343, this actually was budgeted in the other projects fund. We just need to move it.
Yeah.
Is that for the phones?
Yeah, that's the phone system. Financial projects, we have money budgeted in our financial system and in our payroll system. Judicial projects, furniture, that one's spent. Public safety projects. This 77090, that's what's left of the $1 million, the county paid half, city paid half. So we still have some of that money that's not obligated yet. ESD2, ESD3, this is that art projects that haven't been spent yet. HP.
And I don't know on that one, Miss Patricia, that should have been the trucks and stuff.
Yeah, it's, they hadn't turned their
They
receipts
hadn't?
in.
Okay.
They hadn't got the second
That's
one,
fine.
so they're waiting for both of them to get here.
The generator grant was something Butch brought forward several years ago, and I think a grant has been holding since that
But-
time.
Thank you.
With HGAC.
Yeah, it was, I
They're
helped
waiting on
him,
that.
I helped him last year to kind of go back and almost rebuild all four of them. They asked for a whole bunch more stuff. I helped him kind of put all that together and he sent it back in and I haven't heard anything from it since then. Seems like
Rebuild what?
pardon me,
Rebuild what?
generator, had to rebuild the application.
Oh,
They
that.
they called and said they wanted a whole bunch more stuff,
Okay.
so he asked if I'd help him with it, and I went out, took some pictures and helped him write some stuff up and resubmit it, but I don't know the status of that one.
So they're waiting on a whatever plan. to
Yeah.
get Through the,
Well, we spent all last year having all those meetings.
The hazard mitigation
Yeah,
plan.
they're waiting on that to get done.
it's been through HJC, but it's went over to either TDM or
All right.
the federal level.
Good luck.
They're waiting on that to get a permit.
Then the way station project, this 11,400, it's been here a long time. It was back when, before this last redo out at the way station, the state had told, DPS they were putting in for a new mobile home. DPS came and asked for money to move the utilities. And I don't know if that intended to be used during this project, or I don't know the status of
I think
this.
they're,
one.
aren't they done out there with their
All they
modernization?
gonna do.
They
Yeah.
hadn't hooked up septic or anything yet.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's all there. It's nice.
Yeah, I've seen it out.
I guess probably about 30 people.
Yeah. Big old building. All right.
That last one is a journal entry I need to make to get that cleaned up. 4,600 and some EMS equipment. 306, oh, that's probably a mistake. This 306,000, this is that federal revenue sharing money we got a couple of years ago. We've got $300,000 there that we've not.
We
spent.
talked last year about using that on the ambulance.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I mean, it actually can be used on any capital thing, any purpose. There's no strings attached to that money.
So can we throw that on that ambulance for this year?
Certainly can.
Yeah, that would
That'll save a.
back us out a lot of my money.
Anybody got a problem on
It
that
will
one?
help,
Yeah, it's a good place to move it.
corrections, we've got 6,500. I think that was part of some salt project out there. The jail plumbing project, this was discussed several years ago when there was a bunch of problems with the plumbing and
Yeah.
things getting eaten up. This money was put there as, I'm thinking initially for, some engineering or.
They spent the money on it. It was like 120. Cause it's at the engineer again. We had a meeting a month
Yeah.
or so ago about it and they're waiting to get back on the bid packs.
Okay.
Hmm.
Under health and human resources, most of these are contracts that haven't been closed out yet. Out of the ARPA related money, but the adult training at Boys and Girls, Veterans Center has some money left that they want to use. The Phelps Water, well, you can read as good as I can. Good Shepherd, the SUD project. Then the Dodge and
Some of these
GIS.
ones that you were working on cleaning up, because they're the hard
Yeah.
ones, right?
So veterans just spent all their money last week. So she'll be getting a receipt for that.
One thing I did want to bring up, and I didn't when I was going over this, there was one other project that's been hanging around a little bit. Let's go back to supplemental request page. And some of the, no, maybe it wasn't.
With the grant money?
It was.
Yeah, the
and I'm sure
curtains.
That, but Terry's gonna wanna do a presentation of this, but, the air walls at the storm shelter, monitors. And then the warehouse space, and I think there was another one that was waiting on a grant. Which one was that?
We had a big old list of things that he wanted to do. It's all tied up with that same GLO grant that we've got our money sitting on downtown, that we send them letters and they say they're working on it. We should know something soon. I guess I checked, and when our last court asked to check, so I checked, and that's what she said. Oh, yeah, we should hear something soon.
Same song and dance.
Absolutely, yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. So I think those air walls, if that's what those,
Electrical outlets and paint
In
and
the
all
floor.
that was in that.
it was about 400,000 if I remember right. So, his stuff, any big ticket item for him, I'd be kind of hesitant to
Yeah.
do it until we hear from this grant. And they say, yeah, go do it or not, because
Yeah.
if we get it and we've already done it, then we can't do it.
That's why I was holding out.
Yeah.
Maybe the hold up on our grant. We can't fix our roads,
Yeah,
all that crap.
that might be the problem,
Yeah. Maybe
So
so,
about 2 years.
but they're
huh?
dragging.
Keep saying it's getting closer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all may be retired for it.
Roads ain't gonna be no better, I guarantee you.
Yeah, you know, and it's a shame because they show up and they're like, show us stuff that needs to get fixed. You're like, okay, I need to fix, like in my case, this ditch on Boulevard that's about ready to, the whole road fall off in it. I'm like, all right, we'll get on that. So like say 18 months, 2 years later, they're like, hey, we're working on it.
Where we're at.
Yeah, and you're like,
Yeah, it was a hurry then.
yeah, you're like, well, good thing it wasn't already falling in because it would be in, but it almost fell in the last ones. A whole bunch of it fell.
You got any more questions? We need to call anybody else?
I don't think so. I think we got enough to look at.
Yeah, we got
That's
to get
good
started
point.
anyway.
We good?
Somebody we can call as we go along.
Alright. No public comment? Questions from media? Commissioners court. Adjourn